What it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nixie coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to show y'all how to get that big boss, Rick Ross, sound. So let's not waste no time. Let's get on the grind. If you guys do like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Suggest more artists down below. I got a long list. I am getting to it. So let's get to it right now. And check the links down below if you guys are interested in getting the preset. So let's go.
I left a team of niggas in the red tape, digging through their pockets, left their shoes unlaced. Homicide on another case, mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale face. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you know this shit all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang. 6 niggas laying on the same box spring. I left a team of niggas in the red tape, digging through their pockets, left their shoes unlaced. Homicide on another case, mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale face. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave it.
Okay, so you see what we working here with today. 100% accurate Big Boss Rick Ross type of sound. Rick Ross is a legendary rapper from South Florida, and I just love his music a lot. So I did Meek Mill the other day. Now I'm hitting Rose. Okay, so with Rick Ross, I'm gonna bypass the preset in and out real quick with him. And the most important thing is Rick Ross has like this really smooth type of capo, mafioso to Don type of vocal. So that's what this is about today, how to get that pro mainstream boss type of vocal, you know?
I left a team of niggas in the red tape, digging through their pockets, left their shoes unlaced. Homicide on another case, mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale face. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you notice it all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang.
Okay, so very first thing that I had going on with Rick Ross, when I think about his vocal, I actually think about a bottle of Hennessy, right? So that's kind of like the color that I think about with Rick Ross is like this really brown, smooth type of liquor, late night, type of sounds. You feel me? South Florida, Aston Martin music. That's the type of shit I think about when I think about Rick Ross. So I use the Kramer tape, and I like to use the Kramer tape on somebody like Rick Ross's vocal. It really smoothing things out. It also gives him that mid-range bump. So because his vocal is already kind of deep, I'm gonna be kind of rolling off the lows a good amount and kind of shifting that weight upwards for Rick Ross, you know?
Homicide on another case, mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale face. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you noticed it all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang. 6 niggas.
All right, so yeah, that's what the Kramer tape is doing it, bringing a little bit of that saturation, and of course we know tape has a mid-range bump, so I'm not boosting with EQ, I'm using the properties of tape to give me a little bit of that mid-forward. Okay, after that we have the SSLG. Rick Ross is a gangster rapper, so whenever I think of gangster rapper, I think of SSLG, you feel me? And it just has a really nice gritty tone that is matching the subject matter of the rapper, so you know he's talking about his boss and shots rang and all that stuff like that. That doesn't make me think of somebody who's friendly and nice. That makes me think of a big bad bully. So that's why I picked the SSLG channel strip, right? Just rolling off a little bit, doing a little activity in the bottom, and I also took off a little bit 4.5K for Rick Ross. And when I do something like this, it kind of gives like a warm tone. Just cutting off a little bit of that 4.5K, and I like to boost it after the fact with fresh air, which is like saturation, right? So yeah, we used a little bit of gate too, and it kind of you kind of hear like the gate is chattering a little bit. I kind of like that because it puts a little bit of emphasis on his breaths. So sometimes when I want to put a little bit of focus on the breaths, I might put a really tight gate, because I don't see gating as in like background noise. I see it as in like the tone. You feel me? Like you damn well know if you got a tie on your neck, right, and that tie is a little bit too tight, you're not gonna talk the same way. So it's something like that.
Homicide on another case, mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale face. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you know this shit all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang. 6 niggas laying on the same box spring. Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you know this shit all came with minimum wage. They thought.
So you guys are really starting to hear what the SSLG is doing. So then we have a de-esser putting in a little bit of work, about a couple dBs. And then we had a C4 pop vocal preset, really working on that low mid of Rick Ross's vocal, just kind of clearing things up, kind of serving like a janitor, kind of serving as a maid coming in the house and dusting off that mud range a little bit, that nasty type of mid range I don't like. And it just really helps the vocal get a little bit of movement and also lift as well. And the release time is very slow for Rick Ross's low end. I kind of want to be like Jack Sparrow. I kind of want to be like a captain on a ship and drop an anchor, right, for the low end energy, right, with that slow release time to keep it real stable, you feel me? Put on that emergency brake in the whip.
Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you know this shit all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang.
After that, we had the Abbey Roads RS124. This is a Reverb compressor. Okay, my strategy right here is bringing in a little bit of that low end to Rick Ross because his vocal is powerful. It's a boss. He says he's a boss, so I need his vocal to sound like a boss and not an employee. I want his vocal to sound like it has power and control. So I use the Abbey Roads RS124 as well as, you know, the sidechain filter, right? So the sidechain isn't looking at that big bottom, the low end. His voice is kind of deep. It's mostly looking at the mid-range. So this is a little bit better because it helps the compressor react a little bit smoother. Whenever you see a compressor says sidechain filter, the low end is still getting compressed. It's just the fact that the compressor isn't looking at it, you know? So just because you have like a compressor on your master fader that you said sidechain compressor and it's like at 100 hertz, the 100 hertz is still getting compressed. It's just not looking at the triggering, you feel me?
Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you know this shit all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang. 6 niggas laying on the same box sprays. Homicide on another case. Rose. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. Rose. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you know.
All right, so after that, we have the Arvox as well. I like what the Arvox was doing here. It was bringing in a little bit of that kind of like a low mid, you know, a gate, really. It's just kind of getting rid of the low level detail with the gating and everything. So after that, we used a little bit of light, fresh air on Rick Ross's voice, and it just gave us a little bit of that sparkle in contrast because the seesaw is kind of tilted one way. The Fat Boy is kind of leaning a lot, you feel me? Because we mostly been focusing on the mid-range. Now we're using the fresh air to kind of like even it back out by adding some brightness, adding a little bit of sugar inside of the coffee, you feel me?
Homicide on another case. Rose. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. Rose. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still in pain, it been a few days, but you know this shit all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang. 6 niggas laying on the same box sprays. Digging through their pockets, I left a team of niggas in the red tape. Digging through their pockets, left their shoes unlaced. Homicide on another case. Rose. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale face. Rose. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence.
All right, so after that, we have the REQ, just kind of tonally balancing the vocal, nothing really crazy, just like a really, really light EQ. Because at that point, we done did so much compression and the tape bump and all that stuff like that, just kind of, you know, doing that last minute, fourth quarter cleaner, you know?
Homicide on another case. Rose. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. Rose. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments.
So me already being aware as an engineer, knowing that the Kramer tape is gonna do that mid-range bump, the Abbey Road RS124, that's a tube compressor, that's gonna have a way of pushing it up. You know, that was another thing. So we have the Kramer tape right here too, doing a slap delay and everything like that. And I only want it to be the mid range, the higher mid range kind of predominantly being delayed and everything like that.
Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still the pain.
Yeah, I just love the way that tape kind of sounds like on Rick Ross's voice. And after that, we had the SSL-G channel. This is a trick that you can do too. You can get away with a shorter reverb time if you compress your reverb, maybe with some like a SSL G channel. I like to use the SSL VCA compressors because you're like boosting up the noise floor. So it sounds like the reverb is longer than what it is because you're boosting up all that low level detail in the reverb. So that's kind of what I did right here.
It's been a few days, but you notice it all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang. 6 niggas laying on the same box springs. Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still the pain.
And it also provides a little bit of density to the reverb. So after that, we have a doubler, just doing the EQ. And you pay attention to my EQ moves. I'm shifting it mostly upwards. You feel me? Like most of my, doubler and reverb, everything is like upwards, because his voice is so deep. I don't want my effects to be clashing with the lead vocal. You feel me? So that's also in the way I EQ them. I know he got a deep voice, so I don't want the doubler to have all that low end. I don't want the reverb and the delays to have the low end, And then we did the SSL G channel strip again, and we used it on parallel this time. That VCA is giving a little bit of high mid density and grit to a Rick Ross vocal.
Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale face. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still the pain, it been a few days, but you notice it all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang.
All right, so after that, at that point, what else we're adding to Rick Ross's ad-libs, that we just put out a Kramer tape and we put it on 7.5 IPS speed. That is degrading the sound. 7.5 IPS, inches per second on a tape machine. It has a poorer high-end response. So rather than using the EQ to roll off the top end, I'm using the tape to roll off the top end. And I'm also pushing the input a little bit harder, right? So this is kind of greasing up the chicken. This is kind of frying it up. This is kind of hardening. The ad-libs is like a situation where sometimes people take like fruits, peaches, plums, pears, and they put them outside and they let the sun dry them and they get all wrinkly and stuff like that. So as I'm pushing this Kramer tape a little bit harder, that's essentially what I'm doing is I'm changing the texture of what could have been like a smooth apple into this little wrinkly, mushed up, kind of jagged type of ad-lib. It's still sweetness, it's still ear candy, it's just kind of really dried up and everything like that, like a raisin or some shit like that. All right, so after that we have the REQ, and pay attention. You see, I done already did a good amount of darkening. Now I don't have to get too aggressive on my low pass filter, right? So then I get to do this little bump right here, so you still get to hear the articulation, boss, Rose, you feel me? You get to hear all that little detail that Rick Ross be sliding with.
I left a team of niggas in the red tape, digging through their pockets, left their shoes unlaced. Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still the pain, it been a few days, but you notice it all came with minimum wage. They thought it was a game until the shots rang.
As you can pay attention, even when the ad-libs aren't playing, there's still like this little bit of low-level rumble. So that's why, maybe when you use the tape plugin, you might want to just be precautious with your ears and make sure that, you pay attention to that mid-range bump that will occur with tape. That's just the nature of tape, right? And we had an RVox just kind of clamping down on the ad-libs a little bit and giving a little bit of especially with the gate, most importantly. I want it to be playing kind of like hide and seek, peekaboo. I want the ad-libs to pop out to you feel me, through the gate.
I left a team of niggas in the red tape, digging through their pockets, left their shoes unlaced. Homicide on another case. Mouth wide, gold teeth with a pale pace. My niggas couldn't read, had impediments, but they never would leave any evidence. Your mother still.
Okay, so after that we have the SSL G channel rolling off like mostly bottom end, just mostly bottom end pretty much. Yeah, That's mostly it, and then hitting it with a limiter, it kind of gives it an even a more abrupt tone. Then we did like a little bit of parallel compression on the ad libs for some density, and just the basic reverb, nothing crazy, you know. And I think I'm not necessarily sure with Cruz. I think Meek Mill's engineer. I'm pretty sure he's recorded Rick Ross a lot of times. So you know, shout out to Cruz again. I shouted out him in the previous video, and I'm shouting him out again in this video. Because I remember when I first started engineering, I saw his video on YouTube, and he was one of the few people who helped me and you know gave me a little confidence. And that's what I always try to do with y'all. You know, I never actually try to make these videos to have you sound exactly like the artist. I just want to have you get an understanding of like, okay, I got all the tools, I got all the plugins. I just got to figure out my own style. So this is like a starting point. You know, the templates is never about trying to copy the next person. You feel me? It's just maybe if you trying to go for that style of Rick Ross, now you understand what he got in your voice. Now you understand what you got in your voice, and then you can create something brand new. You might have the carrots, the tomatoes, the lettuce, all these other ingredients. Now you're gonna whip up your own pot, whip up your own thing. So that's pretty much the end of the video here today. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check the description down below to support the channel. Most importantly, I love how I'm just running through these videos. I'm getting quicker and quicker and quicker with my little vocal templates. Okay, I just want to say appreciate y'all now. Peace.